I also learned this year that my delight grows much like love and joy when I share it. We'll get up there, and it's okay while we're down here, because all of those things that we are looking forward to when we are up there are still existent down here. They were still important, and I was grateful to them, which is to say, I felt my life to be more full of delight, not without sorrow or fear or pain or loss. Hold on. Today is the 22nd of February, and I'm making honey miso salmon. That's the mix. I'm gonna put that on there, and sesame seeds, probably toasted ones because Shade said toasted, and Shade's on FaceTime.
Is it just water with extra carbonation?
No, it's naturally carbonated water.
Aristotle initially called Commonplaces is more like a compendium.
Okay, I prepped this chicken breast last night. I cut it up and marinated it in like yogurt and olive oil and some herbs like parsley, cilantro, green onion, a ton of spices, kind of Mediterranean style, but really just clearing out the stuff in my fridge. Beans, can of Great Northern beans with tomatoes, onions, spinach, spices, lemon zest as well. I'm gonna finish it off with lemon juice. We got rice going, and then I'm gonna use some tortillas to make wraps, and that is lunch. And then I can make rice bowls for dinner. I also had an avocado. Here it is, hiding. It's a little bit later, 5 p.m. I'm using up some ingredients in my fridge that in my house that were just going. So I had some cookies I needed to get rid of, so I made a cookie pie crust. I made this lemon custard that's gonna go inside my tart there. And then I made this meringue out of aquafaba. It looks so good. And we're gonna put all this together and have some dessert. What my shit was supposed to look like. That shit looked like burnt marshmallows, I'm not even gonna lie. And this is what my shit looks like. Beautiful. It looks like a biscuit, like a giant pan-sized, pie-sized biscuit. Delicious. It smells good. It smells like chicken.
One, I'm tired of you bombarding me. This is my peace. I'm choosing peace. Leave me the fuck alone. So then she calls me again.
Hey, welcome to my channel. I just reorganized all of my, well, that's a lie. I didn't reorganize all of my books. I took the bookshelf that was in my room out of my room and put it out here, and so I have more space for all of the books that I've recently acquired through findings. Also, after clearing off my shelves, I found a couple of things like my Hobonichi cover that I don't use anymore because it doesn't fit my 2 megas. And then this book, The Merciless, that I want to annul because I've read it already and it's alright. It is a YA novel. It's supposed to be like a mystery thriller horror thing. I read it, it was okay. I give it 3, maybe 4 out of 5. Not even 4, maybe 3.5 stars. I was thoroughly entertained. Not a fave. Definitely will not read again. So I'm going to unhaul this. Extra bags. One of them is for utensils. The other is for carrying books. Don't know what to do with these. I'm gonna put them there for now. And then I was just using this towel to dust off my bookshelves, but there's not much dust on them.
It says it's from 1944 to 1975. This is important. From 1944 to 1975 is a very important time because I don't know if you remember, but World War II was 1939 to 1945. Cool? So, America, people like to pretend like America and Russia are enemies. They're really not. They're really not.
Right. We know.
I digress. They have the same political interests, but that's not. Stop blocking. Anyway, so America and the Soviet Union fought with each other during the Second World War. That was when America was really solidifying its place on the global scale and becoming the most dominant power in the world. Before that, America was dominant, but they weren't really dominant. But then they got involved in World War II, and they became dominant. They weren't involved in World War I because they were trying to not be involved with foreign interests, but then the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. Stalin broke his no-fight pact with Germany and decided that he was going to work with the United States to stop Germany because he's like, if you're trying to invade Russia, you're trying to take over everything, and we can't have you do that. The United States and Soviet Union became buddy-buddy, but they weren't really buddy-buddy because the United States hated the fact that the Soviet Union was becoming just as powerful as they were. So that's when the idea of communism as a bad thing really became it really got started because they saw the fact that the Soviet Union was growing in power and they were like, oh my god, we have a genuine threat to capitalism. We need to stop it. So they told everyone that communism was bad and that the Soviet Union needed to be stopped, even though they had spent the past fucking 5 years working with the Soviet Union to stop Hitler. Digress. So then...
You're not really digressing, but continue.
I'm not. But there's a lot of movies we can
But let's keep on track with the Vietnam War.
Yes, so then the Vietnam War starts. North and South Vietnam are separated. It wasn't until the end of the Vietnam War that they merged together and became a single Vietnam. Hold on.
A single Vietnam under communism or capitalism?
Capitalism, because you have to remember that the Vietnam War ended in 1975, which was like 12 or 13 years before the fall of communism. So they weren't going to last as a communist nation if they had become communist. And apparently, according to this Wikipedia page, because I don't remember this part, the United States had a military coup in Vietnam. The amount of military coups the United States has orchestrated is insane. Because they're like, well, we want to spread democracy everywhere, but you're starting coups in literally every center of the place. It's so insane.
I wish I had some relish. Do you think it's crazy if I put sauerkraut on my hot dog?
No, I wouldn't.
Don't judge me, y'all. I know I'm eating hot dogs and I know they take time off your life, but to be fair, these hot dogs were imported for me from my mama from my home country, and you don't understand how delicious they are. These are not just any hot dogs. These are Jamaican frankfurters.
Okay. So everyone hated the fact that the United States was in the Vietnam War because again they were like, you don't belong in this war. What are they doing? And America was like, we're just protecting our foreign interests. People really just hate the fact that millions of people died for something that could have been avoided.
Like millions of Americans died, or Vietnamese?
Well, no.
Ha!
There's only 58,220 American people died, but that's a lot of people, especially for Well, I mean, over the course of like 25 years, I guess it's really not a lot. But we also did have a lot of like prisoners of war that either never came back or came back traumatized. The estimate amount of Vietnamese soldiers and civilians killed will range from 970,000 to 3 million. And then 310,000 Cambodians and 62,000 Laotians.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people also reference the fact that like not only was this war insane and like not really needed, it literally only happened because the United States didn't want communism to go to Vietnam. There were like a lot of war crimes that like happened as a result of this war. Like there's like a really famous photograph of like an American soldier holding a gun to a Vietnamese woman's head, and she's like holding her children and like
God.
crying. And then after that photo was taken, he literally shot all of them,
Oh my God.
even the baby. So like there are a lot of like Vietnamese people and like
That's insane.
other people who helped fight in the war that like were killed by American soldiers, literally just for being Vietnamese. Like it had nothing to do with like stopping communism. They were just raping and killing women and children.
I'm not surprised. Sounds like Americans.
Yeah.
But wow, that's really important. And that helps because everybody's been saying that this book is like really graphic and there's going to be a lot of like, you know, bad traumatic scenes. And I'm just like, all right, y'all ain't seen traumatic. You don't know my life. But
Yeah, I mean, like, but like we have a completely different understanding of trauma. Like
yes, of course,
trauma
than like war trauma.
and like war trauma. Like I think war trauma is something that's completely different on its own. And
Oh, for
honestly,
sure.
To be honest, like I wholeheartedly believe that there could be a World War III. So war trauma may not be that far away from us.
Okay, don't say that right now. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the book. Moving on. Vietnamese War.
Okay, but like it kind
No.
of
Nope.
the connection is there.
Nope. Anyways, where I am in the book is, well, let's see, chapter 4. Jesus. I'm in chapter 4. And so far, the main character, we know that he's a spy and he's working for this general who is, I don't know, some sort of general in Vietnam. And he's a part of the Nationalist Party. And they are fleeing to the south because the north, I guess, like you said, has been overrun, or that's at least what it's saying in the book, by communism. But the problem is that the war was started by Americans, but the Americans are the ones that are, like, killing everyone. But then there's a bunch of Vietnamese people that are, like, for capitalism, and they're not necessarily fleeing because they know that they're going to die either way. They know that the Americans are going to kill them because they don't care if they're on the American side. But they're like traitors to their own people because they refuse to follow communism. So it's just like I'm meeting so many different kinds of characters. Like who's deciding to leave and who's deciding to stay and like why politically, and it's just so interesting.
The thing is, I don't think the full thing was like about communism becoming like the way that Vietnam operated. I think it literally was also just the fact that like if Vietnam fell to communism, America just wouldn't have any power in that region. And obviously, like independence in any sense of a smaller nation that was colonized is always going to be threatening to colonialism and to capitalism. So
I'm gonna read the ingredients for the hot dogs. Ready?
don't read that.
Chicken.
Oh.
It's not bad, really. Chicken, water, wheat flour, starch, salt, sodium tripolyphosphate, sugar, soy, spices, sodium erythrobate, sodium nitrate, artificial coloring, and smoke flavor. That's so much less ingredients than a regular hot dog. I mean, minus the ones that I couldn't pronounce. Look, it's Grace Chicken Frankfurters. And to go with it, we have the Grace Hot Pepper Sauce.
They're like,
This is not sponsored by Grace, but if you would like to sponsor me, I know that I am a foreigner, but
You're good.
I do love my homeland products.
Did I tell you that like it kind of tastes kind of sweet? I think that's probably the reason why I don't like it. I don't like the texture of those fucking hot dogs.
Yeah, I don't like the texture either. And since these ones were in the freezer for so long, they're definitely not that good. But I'm gonna try like frying them up. I was honestly just reading the ingredients so I could see if I could get one to Bosky.
Can I also say, I was having a bit of a breakdown the other day. It was like a week ago. I was having a bit of a breakdown because I was like, when our family members die, like the older generation, which hopefully even though I don't like those bitches, doesn't happen for quite some time.
Yes.
You know? But like when they die, who the fuck is gonna like keep up with being Jamaican?
Us.
But like, how? Like, I don't know anything about like.
All we need to know is how to make rum cake and we're good.
No, that's not okay. Like, I want to lean more into like the ceremonial aspect.
Okay, so
And,
go
like,
home.
Holidays and like understanding like the cultural side of it, not just like the food, like the language. But like the thing is, like I always get
Speak
so scared.
patois.
But like, mom makes fun of me when I do it, so I know.
Me too, but you just gotta do it. But I mean, your patois is quite bad, so I understand why you'd be scared. But
To be fair, I will not lie. I do it here because no one else knows that it's bad.
exactly, that's how
But
you start.
I don't do it around other Jamaicans because the other Jamaicans here, they know.
Exactly, that's how you
They
start.
clock me every time. But
These
I
hot
was showing
dogs
my
are actually
friend-
not so bad when I don't eat them with my freezer burnt bread.
I was showing my friend one of my favorite songs, and I like asked her. I was like, "Do you understand anything that this just said?" She was like, "No." And in my brain, I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean you don't understand?" But she wholeheartedly was like, she did not understand a single thing. And it's, oh my god, we've been talking a lot about like translation recently in my linguistics class, and like how like translating things isn't really ideal because like there's so many things that you just like that are not translatable. And like it's not about like translating word for word. It's about it's like conveying the
That's
meaning.
so
of what
funny
it is
that you
you're
say
trying to
that because I was saying that exact thing this morning. Because Mo and I were listening to, like, she woke up singing a Mr. Vegas song, so that we ended up just listening to a bunch of Jamaican music. And in my head, I'd be like, damn, that's really disgusting when I be like listening to the things. And I'm just like, but I can't even explain to you how disgusting it is because I can't translate it because what he said isn't a word. It's literally like, it's not a word or an action. It's just a thing like that we know. And I just can't explain it to you. Like, it just is.
I was showing my friend the song and I was like reading the lyrics line by line. I was like, okay, this is what this means.
And but also, like, they be getting it wrong in the lyrics. And sometimes I'm just like, that is not what he said.
Yeah.
Bosky's fucking this hot dog up. And it's, like, boiling hot.
She should. Oh, please. I don't know, man. I've given up on trying to translate things for people. Not to mention, this girl, the one I was doing her hair for, her mom is Jamaican. She's Jamaican. And she called her mom on the phone.
Oh shit,
I
I
guess
turned the oven off.
her mom didn't realize that I'm also Jamaican. So, like, it was so interesting to, like, hear someone speak.
Okay. It is 2... Wow, I'm low. Hold on. Let's increase. There we go. Yes, it's 2:30 something p.m. I have made myself an unexpectedly large bowl of ramen. Eat all that. And I'm in chapter 4 of The Sympathizer. I've tabbed up the chapters just so that I feel like I have some sort of end goal when I'm reading because I like to know when the chapter is going to end. And also I find that it's better than me telling myself I'm gonna read 50 pages a day because depending on the day and what I'm doing or going through, that can be a little daunting. And in some days I can read more than 50 pages, but like just having chapters as end goals makes more sense for my brain. As you can see earlier, I was talking to my sister about this book because I had this book with me again today, and another person told me that it was Bosky. I'm so tired of cleaning up poop. I had this book on me today, and another person told me that it was really good, and I'm really sick and tired of just hearing people say this book is really, really good and nobody giving me any explanation as to why or what makes this book any good. And I also don't have very much knowledge on the history of the Vietnam War, or the Vietnamese War. So I was speaking to my sister about it because she's a history buff, and she gave me a bit of context, which makes the beginning of this book make a little bit more sense. So I'm gonna eat my ramen and try and get through some more of this, and I'll update you whenever I get to the next part of where I'm at in the sympathizer. It's Tuesday morning on March 4th. Today's Judah's birthday, and I'm on the roof doing some soul searching, some life planning, some gratitude seeking, some existing. Just existing. Not stressing about existing, just existing. Because it's only fair that I get to do so too. And my coffee. I've got my catch-all here. My pen is about to run out of ink. And it's 30 degrees, but the humidity's at 7, and the wind is not quite windy, so it's quite nice. But I am also wearing 3 pairs of pants and 2 pairs of socks, and a long sleeve shirt and a hoodie and a vest. I'll get back to you when I know the things that I'm grateful for. Okay, I'm back. I wrote down definitely 5, a lot more than 5 things. But I want to start this off by saying that I recently started this book that I didn't get a chance to finish because I started it on Libby, and then it was returned before I got a chance to finish it. But it's called The Book of Delights by Ross Gay, and it's about just a bunch of essays that this person, Ross Gay, wrote for about a year from one birthday to another about something delightful that they found in each day. But in the preface of the book, there's a statement at the end that I really resonated with. I look at these delights also like gratitude, but I'm going to read it to you. They go, because it is rude to not acknowledge your delights, I would tell them that though they might not become essayettes, they were still important, and I was grateful to them, which is to say, I felt my life to be more full of delight, not without sorrow or fear or pain or loss, but more full of delight. I also learned this year that my delight grows much like love and joy when I share it. And that is to say that this book, or just writing about your delights, is not necessarily toxic positivity. It doesn't mean that every single thing or every single day has to be delightful. It's just that you ought to possibly find something delightful in every single day, and you know, you can still go through shit and still find something delightful in every single day. And that is basically the concept of what my list of gratitude here is about. So I'm going to read some of it to you, not all of them, just so that you understand. Then one of the first things I'm grateful for is to be over the hurdle of fear that prevented me from posting my life when I was depressed, because being depressed is a part of my reality. So grateful for those that listen to me and they don't just hear what I'm saying and they don't pity me, but they actually listen and learn from the things that I'm saying. Good mornings. Free time, or a good pen. Grateful for coffee, or running water, housing, a roof over my head, both for the ability to find gratitude amongst my rough stages of life. Grateful for gloves and a winter coat, for the things that my past self bought that I now use to keep myself safe, like clothing or food or other life supplies. Grateful for the sky and the sounds of the birds in the morning. My mother and siblings are alive and healthy despite how we feel about one another. Grateful that my friends are alive and healthy. Happy birthday, Judah. Grateful that my dog is alive and healthy. I'm grateful that I am alive and surviving. I'm grateful that I'm trying. I'm grateful that I have lost hope, but I haven't given up. I'm grateful that money is coming to me as I speak. I'm grateful that I work hard and life will reward me for just existing. I work hard to satisfy my need to move. but I can move freely. I'm grateful that I'm loved, that I can write, that I can think, that I can speak, and that I exist. And then in the end, I just wrote a bunch of things that I'm looking forward to, positive moments in my life. So I just want to say that it is possible to have gratitude amongst depression. And it is also okay to like feel bad, or whatever word you want to use to describe whatever it is that you feel. Because you have to go through, or I wouldn't say you have to, but you know, I like to think of my life as a roller coaster, and there are dips, there are highs, and there are lows. And in order to get to the high part, I gotta be at the bottom first. So we'll get up there, and it's okay while we're down here, because all of those things that we are looking forward to when we are up there are still existent down here. Okay, I love you, and have the greatest day. That from wherever you are watching this, you can find something to be delightful about in your day, or something that is delightful within your day. And if not, then I'm passing off my delight to you. Here's something delightful. You are beautiful. I love you, and I'm telling you that it is a-okay to feel however you feel right now, because you're human, and that's what we do. We feel things. Love you.